So today I feel motivated to do a little guided meditation with you. So if you are ready, you can simply relax, sit down and close your eyes. And if you have to take a moment to get ready, you can pause the video. But when you're ready, we can start right now. And you can simply close your eyes. And today we are simply going to investigate if there is really such a thing called ego or personality, the individual self. Now, as we are sitting here with closed eyes, we can investigate what's really here. We know that there is awareness. There is simple, pure seeing. There is witnessing. But that witnessing is not a personal thing. It is just a quality. It is the ability to perceive. There is seeing, there is hearing, there is tasting, smelling, all that stuff. But also the perceiving of thoughts, feelings. There's awareness, there's consciousness. There are also thoughts. When we look at a thought for what it is, for example, the thought says, I feel hurt because this person said so and so to me. Then when we look at that thought for what it is, then that thought is nothing personal. It is just a thought. And then there are feelings. But when we look at feelings, then they are just sensations. When we are really looking at a feeling for what it is, then it's just a sensation. So there is nothing personal about a feeling. We have our five senses. We can perceive our own bodies. There's nothing personal about a body. It's just a body. We can hear the birds singing. We can see the clouds in the sky. We can perceive everything. There's nothing personal about these things. So, when we are really investigating what is a human being even? Out of what components does the human being consist of? Then we can see body, five senses, consciousness, thoughts, feelings, but there is no person in there. So therefore we come to the conclusion that the person is imagined. And yet we feel like we are the person. Because when we get hurt, when somebody hurts our feelings, we get hurt on behalf of the person that isn't even there. It's not real. There is something there that is seemingly identified with a mirage. So there is suffering for no reason. So whenever we feel stressed or hurt or sad, we can ask, who is actually hurt? Who is sad? Who's angry? Who is triggered? And really investigate. Do not go into dreamland. Really investigate what's there. There's impersonal consciousness, impersonal thoughts, impersonal sensations that we call feelings, impersonal body, impersonal sensory perceptions. Who's hurt? Who's hurt? There are thoughts that say I'm hurt, but who is this I? It's an imagined I. It's not really there. It does not have any substance. there are feelings that indicate that there is a hurt, there is pain, emotional pain. But when we are really feeling this emotional pain, that we can see maybe it's not comfortable, but also it's not really, it's still neutral in a way. It's just a sensation. So then we can see clearly, actually nobody's there, nobody's hurt. So it's not a personal attack, it's not a personal hurt, or it's not a personal emotional state that we're in. There is simply what is. So there's the sensation that the person calls emotional pain. There is the sensation, and we allow it to be there. So what if you're just allowing things to be as they are, knowing that there is no person involved? So there's no need to fix anything because nobody's broken here. Now recognize that you are consciousness. Because consciousness, the impersonal witness, is aware of sensory perceptions. It is aware of these impersonal feelings. It is aware of impersonal thoughts. You yourself as consciousness, you are not able to see yourself. Try to see yourself. Every time you think you can see yourself, and it's actually not you, because you're standing apart from it, seeing it. So it's not you. So all you can do is simply be yourself, knowing yourself as impersonal awareness. You're not the body, you're not the mind. You cannot be located. And if you think you can be located, then try to locate yourself. And when you can say, I'm here, then you can see it, and therefore it's not you. Try it. The mind is conditioned to seek problems and fix them. And then it's trying to see itself as a person, and that person is also a problem, and it wants to fix the person. And that creates suffering, because it's constantly wasting energy to fix something that doesn't exist. So, for example, we have learned that some sensations are bad, negative feelings that the person is having. So therefore, the person, which is the product of the mind, believes that these negative feelings need to be fixed because they are negative. They are unwanted. So it perceives negative feelings that are unwanted, and it is trying to find a solution to get rid of them. So it is basically fighting against itself. The mind, which is the product of the brain activity, is creating the illusion of there being a person, and the person is saying, I have negative emotions. So the activity of the mind is fighting against its own activity. So the brain is in conflict with itself. And it's really important that you can see that clearly for yourself. It's not just something you can believe in or say yes or no to. See for yourself how the brain activity is creating this mind activity, and this mind activity is creating the illusion of there being a person, which is an illusion. And therefore this illusion says, I have feelings that I don't want to have. So it is trying to get rid of itself. So the brain is in constant conflict with itself, and therefore mental disease is a thing. I wonder if you can see that. That's really important. So once you can see that there is no person, there is nothing to be fixed, so therefore feelings are not something that need to be looked at as a problem, and therefore they are allowed to be there as they are, then there is relaxation and they can subside by themselves. There's no need to do anything about them. And whenever there's a feeling of, I don't get it, I feel like I'm in a hurry, I'm in stress, there's emotional pain, there's discomfort, ask yourself, who is actually uncomfortable? Investigate. There is only impersonal consciousness, impersonal thoughts, impersonal feelings. There is no person there. So allow those feelings that you call personal problems, allow them to be there, because they're not yours. There's nobody there having those things. Simply take some time every day to sit in that truth, and it will consume the lie, and there will only be the truth then. And that's what you actually will experience when there is such a thing that some people call a satori. You know, because when you have such a profound moment called satori, then things lose their identity. And then there's this moment of realization that things cannot really be understood or grasped. In truth, they are a mystery. And everything has this unique, everything has this, feels like it's one mind, or it's one, some people also say it's God realization. It's like you realize everything is God. That's because, you know, when you see that you don't have an identity, you don't have a personality, there's no personality in you. The mind that is saying I, it's this I is identified with the past, and therefore it assumes that it can grasp itself, because I know who I am, I know my past, I know, you know. But once you understand that you are not what you know about the personality, you are something else that cannot be grasped with concepts. Once that's clearly seen, then you can also see how everything else cannot really be grasped by concepts. It's just an idea. So when you look at a tree, the mind is automatically assuming that this tree has its own identity, because there is knowledge about the tree, and everything you know about trees is contained within this mind-made individual called tree. And it's a tree, and you know what the tree is. Everything you know about the tree is contained in this personality called tree. You look at a tree and you think it has its own personality, because that's simply the effect that arises when you think you know the tree. Or take everything you want. You think you can identify it because you can research. You can find things out about it. It is a thing. You know what it is. You can find out what it is. It has an identity. You look at a rock. You can find, or you look at a diamond. You look at a crystal. You can find out what this crystal does, and therefore you think you can grasp it. But once you know that everything that can be known through concepts, knowledge is a dream. Knowledge appears in the dream. When you're awake, there's no knowledge. Knowledge is part of the dream, because knowledge is based on thought, And thought is impersonal stuff that is just there and cannot be grasped by itself. It is nothing can be grasped. Grasping is an illusion for the mind, which is it's not a bad thing, it's a useful thing, but it is based on illusion. And that's what you realize when you have Satori. It's like, wait a minute, I don't know what this is. It doesn't seem like anybody's here, but something is here, and then you get the sense that it's God. At least that's what it felt for me. It's like, I don't know what this tree is. I call it a tree, but I know it's not a tree, you know? It's just a name. It's just a label. I don't know what this is. It's just that we call it body. But it's there. It's like, I don't know what a thought is. But it's there. It cannot be grasped. So once you can see through your own personality, you will see that all the things, they don't have such a thing called personality. It's just your projection saying that they have a personality. So they are empty. You will clearly see that form is empty. And that emptiness arises as form, pretending to be there to be individuals, you know. It's just, it's amazing. Now when the mind says, but how does it work? How can I see it? Ask yourself again, who's asking? Because the thought that says, who can see it? And how can I see it? The thought that is asking is an unuseful thought. It is an impersonal thought. It is arising based on your conditioning, on the conditioning of the brain. And there is awareness, which is also impersonal. There is no person. Try to find the substance of the person. And when you recognize that everything is emptiness appearing as forms in individuals, personal identities, when you see that it's actually just emptiness that cannot be grasped, then there will be, I don't know how it will feel for you, but to me it felt like everything is one spirit, everything is one mind, one being. It's alive. It's the thing. It's actually this emptiness, this being, this spirit is talking as this person right now, and the one that's watching it. And everything, the light there, the wall there, everything. There's nothing but this. There's nothing but me. Nothing but that. And it's alive, as you can see, because everything is constantly moving, constantly in action, also called Shakti energy. And the stillness is Shiva. But actually I'm not really into that stuff. It's just a live presence everywhere. So simply investigate. Every time there's a thought that says, I think I lost it, and it feels personal, you think like, I person lost it. I don't know, I person don't know if I'm on the right track. Investigate. What is that person? Where is it? Is it really a thing, or is it just a dream again? Sometimes we fall back into the dream, and that's completely normal. I'm not totally awake constantly. Sometimes when I wake up, there's like, it's me. I'm a person. I'm gotta do stuff, But then there's this realization. Wait a moment. Is it really a person there? There's no person here in this wakefulness. So the person is really just a dream. And it has only power if you can really see it for yourself. There's no power in it if you just believe it. Right? So that was it. And that meditation wasn't to relax. Maybe it was relaxing, but it was really to investigate the ego and what reality is really made of, right? But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe and leave a comment, and have a great